a ton of pressure right now to be more productive? Are you feeling pressure right now to be more productive? Are you tired of people telling you that you need to use this time right now to do all this crazy stuff and you're just not feeling that? Maybe you're tired of me even suggesting that this is something to do right now. If this is you and you're feeling stressed out, you're feeling this pressure, then don't worry about it. I'm going to tell you how I dealt with exactly the same issue myself when I went from 9 to 5 corporate to more time on my hands, maybe like you do as well. All right. I'm Owen. Thank you so much for joining today. If you are on YouTube, then I would love to have you subscribe. And here on Facebook, we'd love to have you join our Abundance Hackers Facebook group. I will put this link in the chat now, and I hope that you will be a part of this. Okay, so after I left the corporate world, I had a 9 to 5 job that I was grinding at day in, day out, very, very long days. And I left to start my own business. And it was a big adjustment for me. And I gave myself about a month, right, to just sort of decompress. Like, it was a very crazy environment that I was in before. And I had, it was difficult. Took a lot of my brain space, and I was really, oops, that's not supposed to happen. Let me just set that back up. It was I needed to decompress from this environment, is what I was saying. So I took some time off to sort of just relax. But by the time I got through that, like, it wasn't the most relaxing time ever. I kept feeling this pressure to do more and to do something. And I've talked to a friend of mine. It was about a month in. I'm just like, look, man, whatever, this vacation is over, right? I need to be productive. I have to be productive. And he said to me, he says, well, what does being productive actually mean to you? What does it mean to be productive? And I hadn't really thought about that before, right? So I ran that through my head. Okay, so is being productive about making money? At the time, I had a very nice package that I left my company with, and money wasn't really the issue at the time. Was it about just being generally busy? I had plenty to do. I was still building a business. I was still starting a business. So it wasn't that I didn't have anything to do. I certainly had things to occupy my time. And it wasn't about, being creative either, because I was still building a business. I was being creative while I was doing all of that, right? So what actually was it that was making me feel not productive? Because I imagine that right now you are probably also doing quite a bit. It may not seem like it, but I'll bet you are doing a lot of stuff, right? For me, the problem was that I was feeling useless. I basically started to realize that my idea of being productive had been tied to basically shoveling coal for somebody else, for being a part of the employment system that we've all been trained is exactly the way to go and exactly what we need to do. And that if I wasn't part of that immediate system, that I felt like I wasn't plugged in, right? That I wasn't connected to what was happening, and I felt useless around that. I realized that I had a very a skewed vision of what being productive was, because all I had ever known before was sitting at a desk, sending emails, writing emails, sending them back and forth at a 9 to 5 job, getting up in the morning, driving to work, coming home. And that I was feeling unproductive because I wasn't doing that. I wasn't doing precisely that piece. That's when I realized, oh my gosh, this is just a different way of looking at it, right? Of course I'm never going to feel productive, because I'm never going to be productive in the way that I was before. I left the 9 to 5 grind for that very reason. But I didn't realize that I still was hooked into the matrix a little bit. I still had the cord in the back of my neck, telling me that that's what being productive meant. And I mean, I'll be entirely honest with you. Even until just last year, I was still using Microsoft Outlook for all my emails because that's what I used to use all the time in my office. And even though it was not the right program for me, and I found had many problems using it, still to this day, I kept forcing myself into it just because that's what being productive meant to me. Opening my Outlook at the beginning of the morning, going through all these emails, doing all this, that's what it meant to me. So I realized that I needed to have a different view of what productive meant, or I was going to feel guilty forever about it. So for you, right, when I'm reading all of these stories about people who are feeling all this pressure to be productive and they're feeling guilty that they're not doing what they need to do, or like, go run out and do a hobby and go run out and do all of this, right? I hear that, and it says to me that everybody still is plugged into the idea of being productive means jam absolutely every second of every day into doing something, to just fill it with stuff so that you can look busy, feel productive, right? And then not feel guilty about it. There are many cultures in the world. Spain is a great one for them, is a great example of this, right? Our idea of the workday week does not exist elsewhere, right? Or the idea of how much we work doesn't exist around the world. It's like in Spain, right? You work in the morning, and then you have a big lunch, and then a big nap in the afternoon, and then you can work a little bit more. The schedule is built more around lifestyle and around living your life than it is about being in the grind every single day from 9 to 5 like we are. And many countries around the world give like 6 weeks vacation off, and we usually only have 2. So understand that both the pressure that you're getting and the guilt that you feel are both a product of this twisted system that we have just almost mercifully been freed from with this coronavirus pandemic. So if you're feeling guilty about being productive, you can forgive yourself immediately, right? There is no way that you're ever going to be able to be productive like you used to be. And frankly, why would you want to, right? When we really take a look at it, how productive is that? So what can you do? What can you do now? Because obviously, on some level, you do want to be productive. And so it's not like what it used to be. What is the new productive? What do you do now to be productive? And it has to do with your passion. Okay? If you find a hobby, or you start a business, or you do some new activity, or you spend some more time during your day on something that you are passionate about, I'm going to guess that you're not going to feel a lot of pressure on you to do that. I'm going to guess that you're not going to feel pushed and stressed about putting some effort and some time into something that you're passionate about. And if you don't know what you're passionate about, then you can use this time to find what it is that you're passionate about. You can use this time to learn, to explore, to do something that you want to do, or discover what it is that you might want to do, or try some other new things. The guilt that is coming, I know that for me, the guilt that came from not feeling productive, from feeling like I wasn't doing everything that I needed to do, was because I felt like I was compelled to do all this crap that I never wanted to do in the first place. I thought that being productive meant filling my day with a lot of this mindless busyness that I just always come to understand is just part of what the work day is actually all about. But that's not true. It was never true, and actually we don't have to worry about any of that stuff any longer, right? The mindless busyness, there's no time for that any longer. There's no need for that any longer. There's no room for it in this world any longer, right? In a time when we are trying from minute to minute to minute to figure out how we as just a human species are moving forward, we're going to make it through this. Look at all the wonderful creative solutions that we've been finding. And look at how quickly a lot of the BS has fallen by the wayside. So, if you feel like you are being pressured to find a hobby, then whatever hobby it is that you're thinking about is probably not the one for you, right? If you're passionate about it, you're not going to feel pressured and stressed about doing it or not doing it. Spend your days doing what you love, and you will never work another day in your life. So, if you're feeling unproductive, then, and you're feeling guilty about it, particularly if you're feeling guilty about it, then I highly recommend you take a look at what are you passionate about, what gets you excited, and then figure out how you can spend an hour every day engaged somehow, shape, or form with that passion. And I guarantee you that all the rest is going to follow. Any of the money, I won't guarantee money, right? But all these things happen, right? Success follows when you are passionate, you're committed to something. If you're doing something just to spin your wheels, why are you doing it? And there's no need to do that any longer either, right? The boss isn't looking. If you have been laid off, if you are now at home, if you are working from home, right? It's not like someone's looking over your shoulder all the time. You don't have to be productive in the way that you used to be. So if you are feeling guilty about being productive, find your passion or move your passion forward, and you have permission to forget about all of the mindless, mind-numbing tasks that you were saddled with in the past. So thank you. I hope this was helpful, and I will see you tomorrow.